Well, good afternoon. I hope everybody's doing well. I've decided to take my video skills outside, and I'm here on the campus at Kent State University, which is close to where I live. And I am in an area that is a memorial of sorts to academia. If you look around me, there's lots of stone books, and way over there, something that looks kind of like a brain. Um, but this is a kind of nice place to take a walk, get outside, and kind of get back in touch with where I got my PhD many, many years ago. In any event, what I'd like to do in this very brief segment is talk about Berengario da Carpi. The article that I've assigned to you is every bit a challenging article. And when I look at articles like this, one of the things that I want you to work on is first extracting the surface level meaning out of an article. And when you look at the life history or the work of da Carpi, it's clear that he was an anatomist who was making discoveries about the human body, about the brain. And he's commenting on some of the work done by Galen and others before him. So we're reminded that in the 14 and the 1500s, into the 1600s, they're still heavily influenced by the writings of Galen. And I mentioned this in a previous video and maybe another assignment, that Galen had a pervasive, a long-standing influence. And one of the things we'll come to realize is that influence was in part due to the position of the church for many, many years. And Galen, in some of his early writings, had alluded to the creation by God of the human body. And the Catholic Church took that as evidence that it should be irrefutable, and that the works of Galen should be long-standing, should not be questioned, and there was no further need to do research or inquiry into matters of human anatomy and physiology. So in part, this contributed to a long-standing perspective on human anatomy that Galen had developed. But gradually that would change, and gradually other anatomists, in some cases striking deals with the church or dealing with executed criminals, would have the opportunity to dissect human bodies and develop and identify new anatomical insights. So as you think about da Carpi, I want you to think about what this article is saying. His effort to understand aspects of human anatomy and understand the brain. He has some interest in understanding concussion or traumatic brain injury and the behavior and the physiology of that. In his work, he talks about the brain and its organization. So I want you to think about a number of these things and a number of these elements as you're reading through that article. Have alongside you the pre-anatomy article that goes with it. In particular, spend some time reading through that. It's a modern, contemporary, updated perspective of the brain. It's fairly concise and easy to read. And at various times, you'll find that to be helpful as you're thinking about some of these anatomical areas that are written about in Berengario da Carpi's piece. Also, I will be providing some follow-up to get into some of the areas that I think are more complicated and more interesting. In particular, a lot of his work in trying to understand the role of the ventricular system. As we've already discovered with our work and our reading of Galen and others, they had identified the ventricles as important sources of fluid, but they had different ideas about what those ventricles were for. And some of this will persist even through the work of René Descartes, as we will see. So give yourself some time to read through that. Give yourself some time to think about the big picture. What are the major areas that he is making some headway in? What is he trying to understand? Who is he trying to sometimes refute? And what are his basic contributions? That's going to be enough, but I'll give you some additional information on details in upcoming videos. Okay, hope you guys have a good afternoon. Take care. You can always get in touch with me. Have a good one.